The nature of narcissism and understanding it. The sadistic narcissist sees themselves as a godlike force, ruthless, without conscience, unpredictable, and beyond comprehension. They are cold, detached from sexual desire, certain of their limitless knowledge and power, and imagine themselves as an unstoppable wave of devastation and final judgment. Sam Vaknin. 1. Introduction. Narcissistic Personality Disorder. All people with narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, are narcissists, but not all narcissists have a personality disorder. In moderation, narcissism can be a tool for higher performance. It strengthens confidence, fuels ambition, and encourages boldness. Unfortunately, many confuse the promotion of healthy self-assurance with endorsing NPD. This is a misconception born from misunderstanding, mistaking beneficial traits for pathology. NPD usually develops in childhood as a way to cope with neglect, rejection, or cruelty, whether from parents, caretakers, or peers. It is the most extreme and distorted form of narcissism, far removed from the balanced self-assurance that emerges from genuine achievement. At its core, NPD grows out of a parent's failure to validate or recognize their child. Instead of praise, the child faces relentless criticism and denial of affection. Even exceptional accomplishments, like winning first place or achieving perfect scores, are met with apathy. Anything less than perfection becomes a reason for humiliation. This constant rejection forms the crucible in which a narcopath is forged. The wound is deepened when a sibling is consistently rewarded while they themselves are punished or ignored. This is a deliberate form of manipulation known as triangulation, which amplifies feelings of inadequacy and resentment. What distinguishes someone with NPD from a confident narcissist is their inability to form healthy emotional bonds. The rejection they experienced early in life leaves them with an empathy deficit hidden behind an inflated ego. A narcopath is essentially a socially manufactured psychopath. Had they grown up in a nurturing environment, they would not have developed this empathy disorder, which is ultimately a survival strategy forged in the presence of sustained abuse. Key points. Healthy narcissism can boost confidence. NPD is an extreme, harmful form. NPD stems from childhood neglect, rejection, or emotional abuse. Consistent invalidation and lack of affection forge the disorder. Favoritism and sibling comparison can intensify its development. Unlike regular narcissism, NPD hinders emotional bonding and empathy. It's a learned coping mechanism, not an innate trait. DV. Rational narcissism, achievement-based narcissism. Achievement-based narcissism differs from NPD, much like Stoicism differs from psychopathy. While both may appear emotionally distant, one is still capable of bonding deeply, while the other is not. In the same way, a narcissist and an individual with NPD may both seem egotistical, but only one can truly connect on an emotional level. Successful individuals, by nature, carry some level of narcissism. It is part of the confidence that comes from achievement. The difference is one of degree. A wildly successful person might approach the same level of self-importance as someone with NPD, but this is rare and typically grounded in reality rather than delusion. Unlike those with NPD, achievement-based narcissists do not see themselves as infallible or untouchable. They simply recognize that they are above average, whether in intelligence, wealth, or health. This sense of superiority is often justified, as success naturally breeds self-confidence. While NPD stems from delusion born of emotional abuse, achievement-based narcissism comes from tangible results and earned skill. These are individuals who have worked intelligently, tested themselves, and succeeded. NPDs, by contrast, elevate themselves in fantasy to cope with the deep wounds left by childhood mistreatment. Healthy narcissism comes from a positive place. NPD is a coping mechanism born of pain. The former can inspire and create, while the latter often seeks to control and harm. Not all narcissism is destructive. Understanding this difference is crucial for anyone studying the spectrum. Key points. Achievement-based narcissism is confidence from real success, unlike NPD's trauma-driven delusion. Both may appear egotistical, but only the achievement-based narcissist can form healthy bonds. Healthy narcissism stems from skill, intelligence, and proven accomplishment. NPD is rooted in childhood abuse, leading to sadism and emotional dysfunction. Not all narcissism is harmful. Some is earned and performance-driven. 3. The birth of the narcopath. To survive their early environment, the person with NPD constructs a false self, a mask, to shield them from the pain of rejection. While they are victims of their upbringing, they are also dangerous. Offering pity or sympathy is risky, as they may interpret compassion as weakness and exploit it. The love they missed as children left a vacuum that cannot be filled. Many come from families where one or both parents also had NPD or another empathy-related disorder. Any kindness they receive as adults serves only to boost their ego. It is not truly felt or appreciated in the intended way. A narcopath, defined here as a combination of psychopathy and grandiose narcissism, lacks genuine empathy. While a standard narcissist may be arrogant or self-centered, they can still feel compassion. A narcopath, however, perceives vulnerability only as a flaw to be exploited. They cannot love in the true, emotional sense. Joy and beauty or tenderness is foreign to them. Instead, they may destroy anything that draws attention away from themselves. If confronted with their inability to love, they respond with anger, denial, and manipulation. They highlight their virtues while pointing out your flaws in a distorted narrative. Their pride cannot tolerate being told they are incapable of something. Narcopaths are shaped by abuse and deprivation, yet they remain dangerous. They value sympathy only as a tool for exploitation, not as a bridge to connection. Key points. NPDs, narcopaths, create a false self to survive early parental abuse. They crave sympathy only as ego fuel, not as genuine emotional connection. Narcopaths lack empathy, making them closer to an egotistical form of psychopath. They see vulnerability as weakness and often respond with hostility or exploitation. Denying their capacity for love triggers rage, manipulation, and victim playing. They are both victims of abuse and dangerous to those who show them compassion. 4. Dealing with a narcopath. Narcopaths operate from a self-centered emotional framework. They may not truly care about others, but they react when someone they depend on becomes unavailable. This is not concern. It is irritation at losing access to a resource. They often display anger or seek to feed their ego through ridicule. While this humor may seem entertaining, it is rooted in belittling others for validation. This reflects a form of soft sadism, often mirrored in their private lives as well. Ridicule boosts their feeling of superiority over the target group, while earning approval from their chosen audience. Since they thrive on conflict, they often create chaos to feed their sense of power. Everything is filtered through ego. This is both their strength and weakness. They attack readily, but cannot withstand sustained counterattack. In confrontations, their strategy is to win quickly by overwhelming opponents. If you use their own tactics against them, they may lose composure and revert to uncontrolled anger. Unlike true psychopaths, narcopaths are poor at enduring prolonged challenges. Their greatest vulnerability is narcissistic injury, the deep offense taken when their ego is threatened. When dealing with them in this state, the most effective approach is to undermine their pride. Mock them, question their credibility, and challenge their self-image. While extreme, this tactic works because they respect strength. Without the ability to offend them, you will never earn their respect. In many ways, they operate like bullies, only backing down when they meet someone who plays their game better than they do. Key points. Narcopaths lack genuine concern for others. Annoyance at someone's absence is mistaken for caring. They often seek validation through ridicule, feeding a form of soft sadism. Conflict fuels them. They thrive on chaos and ego-driven superiority. High in attack but low in defense, they crumble when overwhelmed. Narcissistic injury is their greatest weakness. Reason rarely works once ego is triggered. The only effective approach is to undermine, mock, and outdo them in their own game. Respect often follows only when they're bested. 5. Summary: narcopaths and their red flags. A narcopath is an informal term that describes someone who has both narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, and psychopathy at the same time. It's basically shorthand for a comorbid, co-occurring, grandiose narcissist and psychopath. This combination tends to be much more dangerous than either condition alone because, from narcissism, they inherit extreme self-centeredness, a deep need for admiration and validation, a fragile ego that reacts aggressively to perceived slights, manipulation to protect their self-image. From psychopathy, they inherit a lack of empathy, especially affective empathy, the ability to feel what others feel, impulsivity and thrill-seeking, a willingness to harm others without guilt, calculated cruelty for personal gain. Why they're more dangerous? While many narcissists can at least simulate empathy to maintain relationships, and some can genuinely feel a degree of sympathy, narcopaths lack this capacity almost entirely. They can charm, lie, and manipulate like a narcissist, and exploit others without remorse like a psychopath. This makes them highly manipulative, strategic, and calculated. Emotionally predatory, they read people to find weaknesses. Unstoppable by guilt or shame. Normal social breaks don't work. In psychology, the term narcopath isn't official. It's more of a pop psychology or self-help community term. Clinically, a therapist might diagnose such a person with narcissistic personality disorder with antisocial traits or antisocial personality disorder with narcissistic traits. Narcopath red flags. 1. Charm that feels too fast. Comes across as magnetic, funny, and interested in you from the start. Moves quickly to gain trust. Might share fake personal details to make you feel close. Often uses flattery like a weapon. 2. Love bombing, followed by devaluation. Overwhelms you with attention, compliments, and promises early on. Once you're emotionally invested, they start subtly criticizing, belittling, or undermining you. Cycles between warmth and cruelty to keep you off balance. 3. Zero genuine empathy. Can mimic caring behavior, but it feels hollow or rehearsed. When you're hurt, they focus on how it affects them, not on your actual pain. Shows cold indifference in situations where most people would show compassion. Chetati predatory opportunism. Spots weaknesses in people and situations quickly and exploits them without guilt. May deliberately provoke stress, confusion, or guilt in others to gain advantage. Skilled at pushing buttons to make you react emotionally. 5. Ruthless boundary violations. Tests limits early. May disregard your privacy, time, or values. Treats your boundaries as obstacles, not as something to respect. Often ignores the word no or tries to reframe it in their favor. 6. Inconsistency and double lives. Projects one image in public and another in private. May lie easily and convincingly about big and small things. Keeps different people in their life isolated from each other to control the narrative. 7. Lack of accountability. Never truly admits fault, shifts blame, makes excuses, or rewrites history. If caught, they'll often confess in a way that still paints them as the victim. Uses projection, accusing you of what they're actually doing. Quick tip for detection. If someone's charm makes you overlook inconsistencies, that's often the narcopath's first victory. Pay more attention to patterns of behavior over time than to intense single moments.